I'm always looking for small little jobs to do, and one part that I'm looking straight at here that stands out as being a little bit aftermarket for my liking is this bracket here, especially that plastic screw there. With lovely brass tap, and then you have that. Now I looked through my parts box of spares and I found this. And this is a lovely brass kind of a butterfly screw. So I'm going to try and see if I can offer this up to what's on the tractor there. There's the seal in there as well. Perfect example of what happens when those seals are dry up. They shrink. So to get that usable again, leave it soaking in there's some tank sealer from an earlier video. Just realised that there. So that's what's in my tank at the moment. So any wonder it's sealing. Wow. Little bit off topic, but yeah. So I'm going to take off this bracket and I'm going to, oh, interesting. So that was put in there to keep, because I'd say the seal had shrunk and it went up a little bit too far and I couldn't actually hold it in with that. So I probably did that without realising that the seal had shrunk. But if you look in here and see how much it actually shrinks, it's crazy. So that's why I usually leave them soaking in kerosene. So I'm going to take off this bracket and offer it up. Now, let's see if it looks the same. Is it longer? Let's screw it up a bit and see. It looks like it's longer to me there at the moment. That's not going to make contact with the bowl. So I'll screw it up a little bit and see how much it actually can screw up. So that's your end there. It still looks like it is not going to, I think I must have tried this before. There's still a gap underneath there. So I think that I might have more parts in here that are off this. If it's not there, it's in my other tray. I definitely have another one of them, and I could just, out of interest, compare it to it and see if it's not there either. Could be in my fuel system parts over here. And of course this drawer usually takes 2 hands to open. Yeah. So it looks like it's in this. This is just going to be out of sheer and utter interest. Sheer and utter pig iron, as they say. To see, is this the same? Now this is a lot weaker and this bit is broken off. Put it back there on the camera stand and just see, is this a better fit? So if we look at the side here, you can see that this one has a longer slit there than this. This is way shorter. And that's half the issue. Now, I wonder, oh yeah, it's at the end of the slit there. That's what's going to dictate whether this works or not. This is actually seized, so I just want to compare then actual bracket itself. It's a lot shorter than this one. Yeah, that would be the one we need and there's plenty of thread left on it. But since this is broken, I'd have to see how I will get that out. I'd probably have to go bending it out straight and fishing it out through the hole, and then I'd run into problems here. So that's interesting. Could we make this work? Could I put something in there that would help push it up? Probably be safer, I think, if there was something in there instead of metal and glass, in case you over tightened it and it ended up cracking the glass. So maybe that's what I might do, since this is a nicer part, is try and find something to fit in there. So let's go to our boxes now and see what we might be able to fit in there. So there is our bowl off the tractor, and what I've done is I've give this rubber washer a quick rub on the bench grinder just to get it to size, and now I've got to see if we're going to be able to make it work. Now I do prefer, being honest, having something rubber there pushing up, because the brass on the glass is a little bit probably harsh. So that's what we have now. So I'll take off the bracket that's here, if it'll come. That's one side off and another side off. So this is what we have. Okay, when you actually look now at the length of the little bracket itself, they seem to be similar. So let's go around to the tractor now, bring everything we need, and see if we can make this work. Then we'll be putting a nice original part on instead of a plasticky aftermarket part. So our seal is still up there, our cork gasket is still up there. Nice spring in this, I have to say, compared to the one. It really kind of springs in. So far there we have to screw down, which is good. I wouldn't like to go for much thicker of a rubber washer, being honest, and I don't think I have any thicker. So this is the question now. Will this? No, that's it tightened up full. So we have to go for a thicker. So our only option now is to go for a thicker rubber washer, if I have one. Yeah. So that's our question answered. So would prefer if that would do it. But I look through my rubber washers and I'll see if I can get something that'll fit and not look awkward, like not look really thick. So this is basically what's involved in these. You have your kind of butterfly kind of wing nut, we'll call it, and then this comes up and you're left with that. Now, one thing I will say is I might be able to use this bracket here. This bit is broken, so if I can get this wing nut off, it's fairly tight at the moment, so I think I will. It is turning, so I'll just leave it soaked there for a minute. I'm only going to use my hands. I don't want to be putting on any pliers or anything like that. And I obviously, I'm not too fussed about breaking that. If I do, that alloy part, because it is broken already. So I'm not too fussed. It's just going to be a matter anyway of just getting this going forward and back till I get it off, and then we'll have more parts then to choose from. So with more than a little bit of gentle persuasion, I've managed to get this off. So I'm just going to run the die through it because I had to file a bit off the end of that. It was like something, I don't know, was rubbing it or something. The threads were very bad at the end of it, and that's after probably damaging these threads. So I'm just going to run a tap and a die over these, and because they're UNF thread, and clean everything up. As I said before, nothing beats cutting new threads. That feeling of cutting the new thread. That's very nice. This lad might be a little bit harder to do. Actually, I wonder can I take him off now? So it's after just bending in a bit there from being in the vise. That's no bother. This part is for the bin anyway. It's only a soft alloy. So you'll have to break him, I'm afraid, because I don't like damaging parts. This was beyond use before I started this job. So I'll get a plastic hammer, tap that through. Yeah, it's definitely just the very end of it there. It's been a little bit awkward. The alloy is in bad shape now. It's really tight. I wonder what's causing that. I don't want to use this if I can relieve it. Yeah, I don't know what's causing that. I might get the hacksaw and just cut across there and let it off that way, because I don't want to be banging this as I want to retread him. One more option. If I squeeze this, it might open it as well. Oh, there we go. Now that's always the better option. Now we might be able to salvage that for some other job. I have a little tray for nice rare parts in there to do with the Fergusons, so put them in there. So have to retread him. So that's going to work out as a 3/8 die, if I have one. Sure I do. 3/8 die. It's hard to get a good grip on it. It's one of them things you do like to have held firmly, because you want to be able to make sure that you cut them nice and straight. I'm confident I can make this work with the fuel tap, and we can get rid of that horrible plastic. Yeah, it's a bit wide at the end here. It's going to be hard to get this started, but once we get it started, there we go. She's cutting there now. Once we get it started, it should cut away nicely. that's the side we need to be, actually. Now, make sure that's on nice and square. Yep. That's it. That should do it nicely. Doesn't matter if it was a different thread than this. It's going to be this thread now. We'll definitely cut a lot off the end of it there. Well, it's just wide. I don't know what was causing that. But this shouldn't be an issue anymore. That's what I love about having threads and dies, huh? It's easy as that. So let's go and see if we can piece this together. So that's the original one. That's the one I wanted to use for obvious reasons. This is nice as well, it's good condition. This is lovely and nice brass piece. So the question is, will this fit in there? How do we do it? Oh yeah, this way. Will this fit in there? Is it the right diameter? It is. Okay. And this fits on there. Now if I'm very, very fussy, this metal here is that horrible nickel coat on it that I don't like, and at least this then looks a bit more original, and we're still using the brass. Now I understand you wouldn't be making that from brass anyway, and this is some kind of a modern coating on the metal as well. So that's our bowl. Now another problem we're running in is it's a little bit tight there and there. So we're running into issues here and there, but this is all part of the crack. So let's go over and let's see if this is gonna do the trick or not. So let down the camera. Touch it to focus. Now, okay, this is all the crack now. It's all part of it. So we'll put on our bracket first, see if it even will fit in the holes. It will. Put that up. And now start tightening. Tightening up straight, there's a pulling off to the side. Oh, it actually feels very good. So I'll get my torch and just see, is it making a good connection with underneath it. I don't want it, let's say, being crooked around like that for fear of damaged glass. I'll take it off again, because that's one thing I didn't even check, was to see how it fits under there. So it fits fairly snugly in there. So I'm going to make sure there's no chance that it would start sliding off all of a sudden. Okay. We could be on to a winner here. But I think actually, now that I look in here, what I'd like to do, I'll bring it back to the workbench. Since I saw it done on the one I had in my parts box, and I do see the slightest little chip out of that glass, is fit something rubber in there, like what was there already. I had one that I cut to shape that fitted in there, so I'll go and look for that and I'll come back. So there is that little rubber washer that I just had to turn down a little bit on the bench grinder, and I prefer the likes of that making contact with the bottom under there, because you see plenty of these with a big chip out of the side of them, and what happens is then it'll keep wanting to slide off and you're tightening it up and all of that. So what I'm going to do is try it with that and see how does it go. Now, as I was saying there a minute ago, it's a little bit tight at times there and there. It is easy enough to sort that with the pliers, and it actually will shorten this a bit more, and that'll mean I won't have to tighten it up as much. So I don't mind having to do that if I need to do that, because my fear would be that I would be pulling this hook out of the tap a little bit the more it tightens up, because no, this comes up to me, so that won't make a difference. Yes, this isn't something we've rehearsed before, as I'm sure you're working out. This is very much live. Yeah, it's a little bit tight, so I'm going to go and smash the bowl for no reason. I'm going to go and do a little bit of a remanufacture, put a little bit the bend out a little bit wider, and do the same with that side for the sake of it not pinching there, and eventually I'd say widening these. So that's what I'll do. Okay. Might as well keep you with me. So, pliers. Pliers. How will we do this? I suppose even squeezing it is doing it a bit. It's taking a bit of the angle out of it, so we can see there's a bit of an angle, and then when we squeeze, it's coming over a little bit. Yeah. So now we're left with this a bit too wide. So what I'll do there is I'll go over to the smaller vise because it has narrower teeth. Thinking on the go here.com. Bring it up to just before that bend, and then pull inwards. And the same here, just before the bend. And pull inwards. Oh, a little bit crooked, but sure, we can address that. There's no problem. This is all trial and error. So now it's definitely time we've tightened her up a little bit. It's definitely now clear on both sides, and they're not going to be interfering with it at all, and that's what I want, because they definitely would have been pulling the hooks out. So back to the Batmobile again. So that is a little bit loose, so that's okay. We can put a bit of tension in that, easily enough. Okay, screw it off a little bit. That's our glass bowl going up. You just give them a little spin as I'm tightening this, it just helps it seat. I just want to make sure that that is contacting nice and flat, not more so one side than the other. Otherwise you can have a bit of a leak. Keeping these pressed in there as well and make sure. This is way better than that plastic one. That plastic one was a disaster for tightening because you have a bit of leverage on this. So, see now. See now, is this a better job? It looks a lot better anyway. At least this matches this, and at least this has a bit of a teen on it. There's not a lot of petrol in the tank, so it's no wonder it's not exactly it's not filling it very quickly. Need about a couple of cupfuls of petrol in it. Okay, that is it. So the question being, do we go with that, or do we try and push and get the other one, the other bracket on? That is the question. Now I will do a little bit of remanufacturing here. It's actually touching there each side, so maybe that's just the way it's meant to be. But anyway, I think what I did is, after improving it a little bit, so it's not leaking. It looks nice and correct. It looks a lot better. I think we'll just remind ourselves of what the other one looked like. No, it's actually great looking. So the only question that I would have is, this is lovely and heavy now, I have to say, it's a nice heavy material. Is that going to be an improvement? Well, straight away we know that this is too long and it would involve a bit of bodging. So I think what I'm going to do is leave good enough. That's it, another job done. Looks a lot better. I love brass, it's a lovely material. Something you just don't see used anymore. And I'm happy with the direction this is going. Simple little things like changing the coil bracket, putting the old distributor cap on, especially with the engine that's not very bright and shiny. It's old paint. I think that just it all just helps things tie in, and it just looks so much more correct. I always remember the old Ferguson 20 TVO at home 25 years ago or so. I always had this, and I always remember tightening that up. I don't remember tightening up a cheap plastic thing, so had to go. So that's it for this evening's video on the fuel bowl. I'm not sure what the next video is going to be on, but considering I literally walked past that this evening and I said I remembered that I had a more original part. Considering that, it could be on absolutely anything. But until the next time, take care.